For Japan, I saw fire outbreaks in Japan.
A Japan Airlines plane has caught fire at Tokyo's Haneda Airport, and all runways at the airport have been closed. An airline spokesperson said the plane is Flight 516, which came from Shin Chitose Airport in Hokkaido. And you are looking at live pictures of the incident coming out of Tokyo. Now, the images on broadcaster NHK had showed the plane moving briskly along the runway before an explosion of orange flames burst from beneath it. Japan's Coast Guard is looking into possibilities that its plane crashed with a Japan Airlines flight. Well, officials are extinguishing the flames. And once again, all runways at Haneda Airport has been closed.
To the Japan Airlines passenger plane with 369 passengers on board and 17 crew members. Now, JAL claims that all on board have been evacuated. But we do know that there were past incidents where aircrafts fell before landing at Haneda Airport. Let me give you some figures. In 1966, ANA, All Nippon Airways plane with 133 passengers fell into the bay before landing in Haneda Airport. That's all on board died. In 1982, February, a plane crashed into the bay. 24 people died. And the cause of this incident was believed to have been due to the pilot's mental illness. Now, we are still keeping track of whether all passengers are safe. JAL claims that all on board have been evacuated, but the aircraft was already on fire before it stopped. So there could be some casualties, or at least some symptoms of inhaling or exhaling respiratory problems. So we have to keep a watch on further development. And also, this aircraft is still burning.
That's right. Many thanks for that report. Michio Ishida speaking to us live from Tokyo.
For Japan, I saw fire outbreaks in Japan.
He also went into details to explain that it was an unfriendly demon deep underground that was going to cause this havoc of destruction and death to the people. And these were his exact words.
Japan, the good news I have for Japan is that the Spirit of God says Japan is about to discover a new oil in the ground. But this oil they are about to discover, the Spirit of God said it's not a friendly oil. So now I understand. I sat in an aeroplane with a lady, a white lady. And this white lady, I think she was either coming from Conakry, Guinea, or one of these French African countries. So she engaged me in a chat. And during the chat, she made a statement and said, I don't know why every continent and every country in Africa that discovers oil, the discovery of the oil becomes like a curse upon the people. Instead of the oil bringing wealth, it becomes like a curse for the people. And that statement really hits me. It has never left me. But with this prophetic message, now I have understood why it is like that. Because the Spirit of God said, Japan will discover oil very soon in the ground. But this oil they are about to discover is not a friendly type. It's not a friendly oil. So the oil itself is a deity. The oil itself is a spirit. The Spirit of God said it is not a friendly one. So instead of the discovery of the oil bringing relief for the people, it rather brings burden upon the people. And all of a sudden you find a wicked, ignorant government personnel that enters into an agreement with some company somewhere, and they give the greater percentage of the oil to foreigners. And the citizens of the people suffer for nothing. They don't benefit. And instead of it becoming a blessing, it becomes a curse. The Spirit of God said this oil that is about to be discovered in Japan is not a friendly type of oil. Therefore, the Spirit of God said those who will go after this oil must be very prayerful, else it will bring more death to the people, or the people who even discover the oil. In the process of discovery, some will lose their life. In the process of chasing after the oil, some will die. Some will die.
Japan is bracing for more aftershocks following a series of earthquakes on New Year's Day. Authorities have now confirmed at least 30 people killed, and it's feared that that number could rise as rescue crews struggle to reach some of the hardest hit areas. Dozens of tremors shook Japan's west coast, hitting the Ishikawa prefecture. The strongest had a magnitude of 7.6. More than 30,000 homes were left without power, but the government says nuclear power plants were not affected. The Army has been called in to help with rescue operations and nearly 100,000 people ordered to leave their homes.
Firefighters worked to extinguish the blazes in the center of Wajima, a city in Japan's Ishikawa region, after a series of earthquakes shook the coastal area on Monday. The authorities said dozens of stores and houses were damaged in the fires that followed. The death toll is expected to rise as troops and rescue teams reach the worst affected areas. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida set out what helicopter surveys have found so far.
I have received reports that very large-scale damage has been confirmed, including numerous human casualties, building collapses, and fires.
Almost 100,000 people had to leave their homes and stay in shelters like this gym. Japan's meteorological agency warned that more strong shocks could hit in the coming days. On a day where many Japanese gather at shrines to offer prayers for the new year, the quake measuring 7.6 magnitude struck in the afternoon. And dozens of smaller quakes followed. With roads damaged and buildings destroyed, the more remote northern parts of Ishikawa are inaccessible, and the Prime Minister called the efforts to rescue the survivors a battle against time.